By this time, I'm sure you all have heard about the massacre that occurred down in Charleston, South Carolina at the historic AME Baptist church. A racist white supremacist by the name of Dylan Storm Roof came into the church, pretended to pray with the parishioners for about an hour, and then murdered 6 women and 3 men in cold blood. Now, people will always tell you, don't get too overwhelmed. It's not always about race. The white idiot told the lone survivor, I'm not going to kill you because I want you to tell people what I did and that I did it. But he was sick of black men raping white women. He was sick of black people destroying his country. Somebody please tell me the difference between now and the 1960s. Same thing, same racism, the same institutional racism, the same discrimination, the same thing over and over again, we just in a different decade. I can guarantee you my grandmother, God rest her soul, would never think that in 2015 we'll be going through the same issues, the very same issues that she went through as a kid in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. No other race would allow somebody to completely dehumanize and disrespect their women or their children or their place of worship without retaliating. Honestly, it still blows my mind that this prominent black church allowed this Lily Valley white dude to walk into this church and nobody asked him any questions like, son, are you lost? Or, do you know somebody here? Are you visiting with somebody? They let him walk in that church and pretend like he was one of them, and then he killed him in cold blood. Now, I'm not saying he should have been stereotyped, but I'm saying they should have been cautious of him being there. Perfect example. If I ride through a white neighborhood, or if my wife goes into a Korean store, even though I've never stolen anything from anybody, and now that's my wife, they're still gonna be cautious of me. If that white man walked into that church and they knew he didn't belong there, this is an all black church and he'd never been there before, keep an eye on him. Worst case scenario, we would have 1 death and not 9. We are so accepting to any and everything. We don't throw caution to the wind for nothing. We just don't. I'm sick of seeing the pictures of people praying. I'm sick of seeing the pictures of people saying we shall overcome. I'm tired of seeing that. Praying is good, but as soon as you get up off your knees, you gotta get some action popping. You gotta start doing something, because you know what? I'll tell you a few things that these white supremacists know. They know we're gonna pray, and they know we're gonna march. And they know the government could give a good doggone about how we feel about how we're being treated. The government doesn't care. The president was quick to call the rioters in Baltimore thugs when he said that they pried open store doors to steal. But he called this guy today on news conference a suspect. What do you mean a suspect? He was ID'd by the only lone survivor. He's no longer a suspect. He's a thug. He's a murderer. But even the president, i.e. the government, is still protecting him. They arrested this kid peacefully. Now, we all know if that was a black suspect who shot up in a Catholic church, number one, they probably wouldn't have found him alive. And if they would have, he would have showed up beat down and they would have said, he resisted arrest. We had to do this. If you're a black church in 2015 and you do not have somebody there with a gun, then you're crazy. Because it's open season. If you don't protect ourselves, nobody else will. You come into our neighborhoods and you bring this type of nonsense to our neighborhoods and to our women and to our children, we're gonna make you pay. Don't tell me he's not a racist. Don't tell me he has some type of mental issue. His only mental issue is that he thinks he's better than everybody because he's a white boy. You cannot make them feel sorry for the way that they treat us, because they know how they treat us and they don't care. So from this moment on, I will be unapologetic about the way I feel about these racist white supremacists. They got to go, and they will not leave until we make them leave. Real talk.